Hi, it's Debbie here, and thank you for joining me as I watercolour this super large floral garden set, which is part of the new Simon Stamp release. You can find details of the release on my blog, and I'll leave a link below in the video description. This set is so large, I actually made 2 slimline cards from the one painting session. Don't you just love that? I got the idea after seeing Neenah Marie Trappiani and Jennifer Maguire use the So Beautiful set from Simon Stamp. That is a cling mount background set in the 6x6 inch size, whereas the floral garden set is 6x8 and so perfect for slimline cards. So let's get started. As I mentioned, this is a 6x8 set and the flowers are the focus, and as such you have a lovely large image to play with. I cut a piece of Archer's cold press watercolour card for this, aligned the stamp in the full-size Misti and stamped in antique linen distress ink. Of note is that initially I tried stamping this in Gina K Whisper amalgam ink, but when I started watercolouring, the ink sort of grabbed the colour and made for strong lines around the petals and leaves. Now I've tried this ink on Fabriano Artistico Extra White card and can't remember having that issue, so maybe the ink behaves differently on different card. I don't have any Fabriano card large enough to stamp this image though, and so I stuck to my favourites of Archer's card with antique linen distress ink. Although this is a large image, there are a lot of flowers, and as such each flower isn't that large to worry about. I picked out a few small round brushes and started painting with Daniel Smith watercolours. As is usual for me, I started with the greenery to get my hand in and used a small brush to draw in the stems. I'm going to leave a few sections of this video at real speed so that you can see how slowly I actually paint. Slow and steady, trying to keep my hand from shaking to create a smooth line. There are a few things that you can do to help keep a steady hand, and they are simple things as you would expect, like not being hyped on your caffeine of choice, making sure you're in a calm environment with no pressing things to do, and just relax and let the painting take you with it. Having said that, I was hungry while I was painting this, and so I don't think my hand was as steady as I would like. For the greenery, I picked a few greens off my palette with the aim to have a variety of different hues, so the stems and leaves weren't all the same. When it came to the flowers, I chose colours I would think of them in my garden. The small bell-shaped flowers I thought looked like cerinthe, and so I painted those in blue-purple hues. And I also chose similar colours in the end for what I thought could be grape hyacinths. My colouring is by no means true to nature, but at the same time there's a wealth of inspiration in nature, and when deciding what to paint when you have a choice of so many flowers, then it's a good idea to reference a few flowers off of Google Images. My colour choices will always be more on the softer, muted side, even when colouring a variety of spring flowers such as this. And I was thinking about this the other day when I tried to break out of my comfort zone with brighter colours, and I kept trying and nothing I did felt right. And then I accepted that I am who I am, and a rainbow of colours can make one person happy, but for me, I find true joy when looking at a muted palette. I plan on exploring colour choices more as I keep creating videos, so if this is something that interests you, then please hit the subscribe button, and if you want to get notified when I post, then hit the bell button too. Now, because I am trying to create a video for every post I make, then my posts per month are fewer because making a video takes a lot of time. However, I hope you'll stick with me, even if I am posting it only about once a week these days. Back to the painting, and my aim here was simply to get a layer of colour down on each flower, leaf and stem. On larger areas I did aim for graduation in colour from the base to the tip, but the painting is really quite simple. You could really go to town with lots of layers and extra interest, but in the main I aimed simply for that one layer and then let the feeling of the busy meadow do the rest. I'll play some music now while I continue painting. I know many of you have requested for more of the painting and for slower sections, so I've tried to include those too. I'll be back shortly to show how I took this watercolour panel and made 2 slimline cards from it. I finished off the painting with a good splatter of white gouache, perfect pose powder and leftover paint. When dry, I did go and add a few extra points of depth with FABER CASTELL Polychromo pencils. I think a lot can be achieved by adding a few deep dark shadows dotted around. I measured up and realised I could get 2 panels from the watercolour painting by using one of the slimline nested rectangle dies. I used washi tape to hold the die in place as I ran it through first one side and then the other. I paired these panels with the slimline scallop frame. I'm really liking scallops at the moment and feel they add a touch of whimsy and a country feel to the card. I cut 2 frames from ivory card and mounted the frames onto slimline cards, cut and scored from Neenah Desert Storm card in the £100 weight. I used Darice foam strips to attach the frame, and they are the perfect skinny width to fit the frame. Once the frame was in place, I added a double strip of 3M foam tape to the back of the watercolour panel and added over the top of the frame. The different foam tapes I used have different thicknesses, and the result is that the watercoloured panel floated beautifully just above the frame, giving the panel definition while keeping things subtle. I do love pre-printed sentiment strips, they make life so easy, and each pack has a multitude of choices. As these are so new, I don't even know the official names of these packs yet. However, one contains lots of Mother's and Father's Day messages, and the other seasonal spring messages. I prefer to cut skinny strips using a scalpel and ruler with grid lines and metal edge. That's for accuracy, and on a self-healing cutting mat. I added skinny Darice foam strips to the back of the sentiment and added over the flower stems. I accented with a simple trio of eggshell pearls. Okay, so that completes this 2-for-1 watercoloured wildflower meadow. I'll leave links below where you can find the products that I've used today, many of which are brand new from the latest Samsa stamp release. I'll also leave a link to my blog post where you'll find details of this card. Thanks for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and if you have, then please subscribe to this channel. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.